So in this arrangement question, we have to find out who all are in which team, and which teams can speak which languages. There are 6 languages and we're given information about the 5 people, and which of those 6 languages these people speak. Now it is given that each team, so I am first drawing a table showing the teams versus the languages spoken by at least one person of the team. Each team, English and Chinese are spoken by all 3 teams. So Chinese and English. Basque and French by 2, so that's all 3 teams. Basque and French by 2 teams, and the other 2, Dutch and Arabic, by 1 team. Notice that this adds up to 12. It is also given each team speaks 4 languages, so the rows will also be 4, 4, 4, 12. There are a total of 12 ticks in the table, each row having 4 and the columns having 1, 2, 3, 1, 3, 2. First 2 clues. Let's go to the 5th clue, which says that Robert is in team 1 and Quentin is in team 3. Now we need to also track who all are in which teams. P, Q, R, S, T are the people. Now there is also the fact that initially it was said that a team is either 2 or 3. We don't know which number it is, but it's given to us that all teams have the same number of people. So we have to remember that. Now they're saying Robert is in team 1. Robert is there in team 1. And what does Robert bring? He brings his skill in Arabic and French. So team 1 definitely speaks Arabic and French in addition to the Chinese and the English that is spoken by everyone. That means the other 2 languages are not spoken because each row should have 4 ticks. Also notice that Arabic is spoken by only 1 team, so the other cells in that column will be crossed out. Basque is spoken by two of the 3 teams. We already have a cross, so we can have 2 more ticks. Then we have Quentin is in team 3. What does Quentin do? Quentin speaks Dutch and English. So team 3, you have Quentin, and Quentin speaks Dutch and English. So Dutch and English. So we have 4 ticks in row 3. So we need a cross here. Because of this 2, we'll have a tick here, and then we'll have a cross here. So we now know which teams know which languages. That part is set. Now let's look at the members. It is given that Quentin and Robert are not together in any team, so that's a cross, that's a cross. Now if Sally is present in a team, then that team should definitely be able to speak Basque. So a team that doesn't speak Basque should not contain Sally. So that will be team 1 should not contain Sally. Similarly, if Robert is present, Arabic should be spoken, and Arabic is spoken only by team 1. Team 2 and team 2, which do not speak Arabic, cannot have Robert in it, so Robert is not part of team 2 either. Now before we proceed further, we can look at the 4th clue, which says P and S are together in exactly 2 teams. Now that helps us figure out the number of people in a team, because if you look at team 1 and team 3, they already have 1 person. So also team 1 does not have S. I think that's an easier way of going about it. Team 1 does not have S. So the 2 teams in which P and S are present together, both are present, should be team 2 and team 3. P and S are present in both. Now you see that team 3 already has 3 members now. that means the size of each team is 3 and not 2, and we can have a cross here. Since we have 2 crosses, the other 2 should be ticks. And then it comes to team 2. Who is the third person in team 2? Look at the languages. Team 2 should know Basque, Chinese, English and French. What do the people give it? P is providing Chinese and English. S is providing Basque and English. Basque and English. We need somebody who speaks French. Out of Q and T, Q does not speak French, so it's not Q. T has to be brought in to be the French speaking person in team 2. That will be a tick. So now we have, I don't think we need those dashes in the table. We know that Terence is part of the team. If we didn't have Terence and we had only Quentin, we wouldn't have a French speaker. Anyways, Quentin is not part of the team, and that is pretty much all of the information regarding the languages spoken by the teams, the memberships of the teams. We can use this to solve all the questions. Let's look at the questions. First one is, who among the following 4 is not a member of team 2? TPQS. Team 2 has T, P and S, does not have Q. Q is the answer. Second question, who among the following 4 is a part of exactly 2 teams? The options are Q, P, R, S. P is in 3 teams, Q is in only 1, R is in only 1, S is in 2. S is the answer. Third question, who among the following is a member of all teams? That would be P. P is a member of all 3 teams. Last question, apart from Chinese and English, which languages are spoken by team 1? Team 1 has Chinese, English, Arabic and French. The answer is Arabic and French. So the first thing you got to do with any web chart based question that you decide to attempt is almost always to tabulate the values, because it's such a pain to keep reading that data off of the chart. So I've already done that here, and that is basically all percentages. What you are given in the web chart are percentages, and I've tabulated them, but we need the actual ratios between all of these terms. And the problem is the total revenues across the years are not equal, the total costs are not equal. They're all percentages of the total, so the base is all 100, but the actual ratio of those bases is given to us through these clues, and we're going to work with them and figure that out. So the first thing that's given to us is percentage profit for 2016 was 100%, which means revenue of 2016 was basically double of the cost of 2016. And we're going to find out the actual values, or at least the ratios between the actual values. What are the other things that are given? Stores revenue doubled from 2016 to 2017. Revenue of 2017 was double of this, and cost doubled from 2016 to 18. Cost 2018 was double of the cost 2016. We don't know revenue 18 and cost 17 as of now, but the idea is if you give this a value of 100, this would become 200, this would become 400, this would also become 200, and that is basically what I'm going to do now. So if cost 16 was 100, then the percentages 30, 40, 30 will become values 30, 40, 30 themselves, no change. But if revenue 16 is 200, I'm going to take these percentage values and I'm going to double them, and I'll get 40, 60, 100. Now revenue 17 is even double of that, so these numbers will have to be multiplied by 4. So I'll have 120, 160, 120. Cost 18 is also 200 on the assumption that cost 16 is 100. So I'll write those numbers down as well. 100, 200, 400. Cost 18 is 200. So everything doubles. It becomes 40, 100, 60. I've basically used clues 1 and 2. I still have to run through clues 3 and 4. Clue 3 says there was no profit from electronics department in 2017. We know that electronics department had a revenue of 120. If there was no profit, then the cost was also 120. Notice that the 40% has become 120 rupees. That is because the base is 300 rupees. And then 30 will become 90. 30 will also become 90. So we use clue 3. Clue 4 says in 2018 the revenue from the clothing department was the same as the cost from the produce department. 2018 revenue from clothing. 2018 revenue from clothing is the same as cost produce. Cost in the produce department in 2018. So that should also be 100. Notice that 40% is becoming 100. So that is into 2.5. So this 40 is also 100 and that 20 is 50 for a total of 250. So based on the 4 clues given, I've been able to find the ratio between the total revenues and the total cost for all 3 years. There are 6 totals and the ratio between those 6 totals has been found out. Not only that, we have been able to find the breakup because we already had the percentages. Using this data, you can solve all of the questions. Let's see. First question, what is the percentage profit of 2018? 2018 revenue is 250 and cost is 200. When you divide, you will get 1.25. Ignore the 1 and you will get 25%. Second question, what is the ratio of revenue generated from produce in 2017 and 2018? Produce revenue 2017 and 2018, the ratio is 160 is to 100, which is the same as 8 is to 5. Third question, what percentage of the total profits of 2016 was from electronics? In 2016 there was a revenue of 40 from a cost of 30, so that is 10. There was a revenue of 60 from 40, that was a profit of 20. Revenue of 100 from a cost of 30, that's a profit of 70. That was a total profit of 100 rupees. And out of that, 70 rupees came from electronics department. So that is 70%. Last question, what is the approximate difference in profit percentages of the store in 2017 and 18? 2017, the revenue is 400, the cost is 300. 400 by 300 will give you 1.33, that was 33.33% profit. 2018 profit percentage was already found out to be 25%. When you subtract it, you will get 8.33%. 8.3 is your answer. So this one was probably the easiest set in the section because there's no calculation to be done on any of this data that is there. These numbers, no calculations to be done on those numbers. It's mostly about counting which states are where. There is no initial processing to be done on the main set data or the text in that set data. You can directly look at the graph and start solving, and turns out that the 3 out of the 4 questions are purely inspection based, not much calculation. So let's just quickly run through those questions. The first one says a heavy monsoon state is defined as a state with actual rainfall of 900 mm or more, and that would be basically anything to the right of this line. 900 mm or more is to the right of this line. and they're asking approximately what percentage of these heavy monsoon states have a negative deviation from the LPA. That 0 for the LPA is right here, that's your x-axis. So they're asking you of all the uh, states to the right of the vertical line, what percentage are below the horizontal line. That is basically the question, and you can count a total of 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, and 3 are below, so the answer is 3 by 7, which is 42%. That is the first one. The second one is saying if a low monsoon state is defined as a state with actual rainfall of 750 mm or less, what is the median deviation from LPA as defined in the y-axis of the figure of low monsoon states? So low monsoon is 750 or less. 600, 700, 750 is going to be somewhere around here. They're basically asking you of all of the dots on the left of this vertical line, let's find the median one after you increase in ascending or descending order. So let's see how many there are. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. So you have 9 items, so the median is going to be the fifth item. They're asking you what is the median value of the deviation from LPA, which is minus 10%. Minus 10% is your answer. Third question, what is the average rainfall of all states that have actual rainfall of 600 or less and have a negative deviation from LPA? 600 or less means it should be on or to the left of this line, and the negative deviation means it should be below this line. So you're basically looking for items here. Wait, I got the vertical line wrong. It should be 600 or less, so it will be here, on or to the left of this vertical line and below this horizontal line. So you're looking for this region. There are 5 items there. Those items are 600, 600 for Assam and West Bengal, Jharkhand 400, Delhi 300, Manipur 400. They're asking for the average. The sum is 2300 divided by 5, you get 460. 460 is your answer. The last question of the set requires a little bit more work. Before we do this, I just want to remind you that the LPAs were for in the original graph, the deviation from LPA of 2018 is given and the actual rainfall of 2019 is given. Okay, so what's given is that the LPA is the average for the 10 years up to a period of time. So we're talking about when you say LPA 2018, that is the average of 2009 till 2018. It is given that actual rainfall in Gujarat in 2019 is 20% more than that in 2009. LPA of 2019 is closest to what number? So we have 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 and then 19. The LPA for this is what's used in the graph. The actual rainfall for Gujarat in 2019 is given in the graph. It is 600. So the 2019 value is 600 and it is given that it is 20% more than rainfall in 2009, which is going to be 500, because 500 is the number such that 600 is 20% more than that. Now it is also given that Gujarat's rainfall in 2019 is 25% more than the LPA of 2018, Now 600 is 25% more than 480. So this average is 480. The question is, the LPA of Gujarat in 2019 is closest to what? They want the average for these 10 years. What has happened is that you have replaced the 500 with the 600, where the average used to be 480. And so you can find the delta average is equal to delta S by N. The sum has increased by 100 and there are 10 numbers. So the change in average is plus 10. So the average used to be LPA 18 used to be 480. So LPA 19 will be 10 more than that. It will be 490. 490 is your answer. Now this is a set where there is not much initial processing to be done. Each sub question has to be solved separately, and most of the important information I've taken in this table. The table gives the room numbers allotted to each doctor on each day, and I've just added the information regarding how much they charge and what is the duration of a session. Ben charges 100 rupees for a 10-minute session, Kane 200 rupees for a 15-minute session, and Wayne 300 for a 25-minute session. It is also given to us that the clinic is open for 2.5 hours, which is 150 minutes. So let's look at the first two questions. First question is, what is the maximum number of patients that the clinic can cater to on a single day? We have 150 minutes for each person. Ben spends 10 minutes per person, Kane spends 15, and Wayne spends 25. When you add it, you will get 15 people, 10 people, 6 people. So the answer is 31. The second question says, the queue is never empty. Who makes the maximum amount of money? We know that everybody works for 150 minutes. So it basically boils down to who is earning money the fastest. And for that, you can just look at the ratios here. Ben is making 10 rupees per hour. That is 40 rupees for 10 per minute, sorry, 40 per 3 minutes. And that's around 13 point something. This is 12 rupees per minute. So clearly Kane is making the most per minute. Kane will have the highest total earning. To solve the third question, I'm taking a table because it makes it very easy to visualize what happens. And we are going to look separately at Monday, Wednesday and Friday. Now Singh turns up at 8:50, so I'm taking 5-minute blocks. So starting at 8 o'clock, which means that at the end of the 10th block is my 8:50, and Singh turns up at 8:50 on every day, and he is token number 13 on every day. So let's see what happens before that. On Monday, rooms 1, 2, 3 are taken by Ben, Kane and Wayne. By 8:50, Ben would have done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. Kane would have done 1, 2, 3 and started the next person. Wayne would have done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and one more person. What you will notice is that you have already done, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 people have gone in and gone out. 11th person is still consulting. So 12 and 13 both will start at 8:50 itself. But the question is, who will go where? 12 will obviously go to Ben here. So 12 can be done in 10 minutes. While 13, Singh, will take another 25 minutes. And in the other days, nothing much changes except the order of patient number. I wrote the numbers wrong. Let me just backtrack. So that's patient number 12 takes 10 minutes and patient number 13, our guy, takes 25 minutes. And what if you look at the other 2 days, the only difference is the order in which the doctors are preferred because of the change in the room numbers. W, B, K here and K, W, B here. So W would take 25, 1, 2, B will take 10, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, K will take 15, so 1, 2, 3. That's 10 people who are done. 11th, 10 people who are done. 11th person has already started with the guy who's going in multiples of 15. And 12 will go here and take 25 minutes. And 13 Singh will take 10 minutes. So the value here is 10. The value here is 25. We can check the last case again. K would take 15, so 1, 2, 3, and has started his fourth person. W will do 1, 2. B will do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, 10 are done. 11th is ongoing. 12 will go here and take 25 minutes. 13 Singh will go here and take 10 minutes. So Singh's options are 25, 10 and 10, and he spends the maximum 25 on Monday, and that is the answer. Monday is the answer. So this set was one of the tougher questions sets in this section. There's a little bit of numerical logic that you have to do before you can get started. So what we have are two papers, both are worth 100 marks, and the midterm paper had less number of questions than the end term paper, although both are 100 marks. And the kind of questions you had were 5 mark, 10 mark and 15 mark questions. We know that there are at least 4 5 marks, so let's write midterm and end term. There are at least 4 5 mark questions. There might have been more, and there are at least 3 10 marks. There might have been more again, and there are at least 2 15 mark questions. This set doesn't specifically say that these are the only types of questions, but they are. There is no other way to solve this question. We have to assume that the 3 types of questions are 5 mark, 10 mark and 15 mark. Now look at what this adds up to. You have to do all of the calculations. That's 20, 50, 80. The minimum that they've given us is for 80 marks. There's another 20 marks somewhere. We don't know the kind of questions involved. Here also it is 80. There's another 20 somewhere. We don't know the kind of questions that will be added to this minimum. But we know that end term has more number of questions. What are the other things that we know? We know that considering both of them together, each faculty prepare the same number of questions, and we have 6 faculty A, B, C, D, E, F. So the total number of questions should be a multiple of 6. Number is 6k. And what do we have right now? We have 4 plus 3, 7 plus 2, 9. 9 into 18. It is already 18. So it needs to go up to some other number, 24 or 30 or 36 or something. We'll have to see. The total number of questions for MT and DT put together will be one of these multiples of 6. Now you can just look at how many more marks are there. 40 more marks are there. If you have them distributed across 6 more questions, each question is around 6 marks. The average is around 6 marks, which is feasible. It is within the range of 5, 10, 15. The average has to lie between the endpoints. That is when you put 6 more questions for the remaining 40 marks to take the total to 24. If you put 12 more to take the total to 30, 40 by 12 is going to be 3 point something, and the average of weighted average of 5, 10, 15 becoming 3 point something is not feasible. It has to be between the lowest and biggest numbers there. So you cannot have 12 more questions for the remaining 40 marks. It has to be 6 more, and we figured it out using weighted averages. So we know that there are 6 more questions. I'm gonna chuck the 30 in. You can just say there are 18 there and 6 more questions. 6 more questions worth 40 more marks. We want to find the breakup of this in such a way that you're adding more number of questions to ET than to MT. We'll look at that. 6 questions worth 40 is going to be, if you put all 5s, it's going to reach up to 30 only. To go from 30 to 40, we can do a substitution. We can either substitute a 5 with a 15 to pull the total up to 40, or you can substitute 2 of the 5s with 10s. So these are the 2 candidate solutions we have for the remaining 6 questions. These are the only possibilities, and only one of them will work in with the data given. That we'll have to check. Now for the time being, we'll have to consider both of these possibilities. We'll then whittle it down to one of the 2. So if you have 5, 5, 5, 5, 10, 10, it has to be another 10, 10 for the midterm, and 5, 5, 5, 5 added for the end term. This will ensure that end term is more questions than the midterm. That is one of the solutions. The other solution is to have, let me just take my time and copy this. So as I said, one solution was to have 2 more 10s for the midterm and 4 more 5s for the end term. That takes care of your multiple of 6. It takes care of your 100 marks for each paper, and it takes care of end term having more questions than the midterm. The other solution is to have the 15 and the 5 added to the midterm and 4 5s added to the end term. That is the second solution, which also has 24 questions. So 4 questions each for the 6 faculty. It takes care of the 100 marks for each paper. It also takes care of the condition that end term should have more questions than midterm. These are the 2 solutions we have initially, and I'm going to get rid of this now. We don't need this. These are the 2 competing solutions we have at this point, but only one of them works. Let's see how we eliminate the other. So eliminating one of these cases is based on the idea that all the 5 mark questions preceded 10 mark questions, and all the 15 mark questions succeeded the 10 mark questions. And it is given that Annie prepared the 5th question for both MT and ET, and for MT it was a 5 mark question. So there should be at least 5 mark questions in MT, and that is satisfied by this case but not by this case. So we can reject the one on top and we can fix the one on the bottom. To visualize the solution very easily, I'm going to take a table with 20 columns. Each column represents 5 marks. I'm dividing the 100 marks into 20 sets of 5 marks each, and we have the midterm and we have the end term. As far as the midterm is concerned, you have 5 mark questions. Then you have 3 10 mark questions. So that's a 10 here, a 10 here, and a 10 here. You have 3 15 mark questions. That's a 15, a 15, and a 15. That's for the midterm. For the end term, you have 8 5s. You have 3 10s, 1, 2, 3, and you have 2 15s. That's a 15, and that's a 15. Now we have to find which questions were given by which faculty. Now here are the other calculations that are required. I'm going to remove this. We don't need this anymore. We had a total of 24 questions, so that means 4 questions per faculty for MT and DT combined. Now, what are the total number of questions in MT? MT has less questions. We'll see that it is 4, 5, 8, 11, and ET has the remaining 13. Now it is given that Annie, second clue says Annie prepared one question for MT. So if you look at the breakdown by person, let's just put A, B, C, D, E, F. Annie did one, everybody else did more than one. And you will see that there's only one solution, that is to make everybody else do exactly 2. And to get the total of 4, you'll have to put 3, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. That is what we get from the second clue. The first clue says Annie prepared the 5th question for both MT and ET. So the 5th MT and the 5th ET. Third clue says all questions prepared by a faculty member appeared consecutively in MT as well as in ET. Fourth says Chetan prepared the 3rd in both MT ET. Third question. Isha prepared the 8th question in both 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Isha prepared the 8th in both 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 5 says F prepared the first question of MT, F, and the last one in ET, which is this thing right here. D prepared the last in MT and the first in ET. Now we come back to the clue that we didn't use. Third one, all questions prepared by faculty member appeared consecutively in each paper. So we know that apart from A, everybody else did 2 each for both papers. A did 1 plus 3. Now that means 2 F's together, 2 C's together. In MT, A did only 1. There are 2 D's, there are 2 E's, there are 2 B's. DD, CC, AAA, EE, FF, and BB. That is basically the full solution. We can use this table to solve all the questions. Let's look at the questions. First question is, second question in ET was prepared by who? The answer is Dave. How many 5-mark questions were there in MT and ET combined? There were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's a total of 13. Who prepared 15-mark questions for the papers? Here you have E and D involved. Here you have F involved. So the answer is only D, E, F. Last question. Which of the following questions did Beti prepare in ET? In ET, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11. Beti did 10 and 11. From the options it is 10th question. So here we have a games and tournaments set. There are 10 participants, A to J, and there are 10 rounds, round 1 to round 10. But in each round, only 6 of the people are participating, the other 4 are not. That information is given above. So the first thing to do is cross out the ones who are not participating in each of the rounds. Players 1 to 6 participate in round 1. 1 to 6 is A to F. The others didn't participate. Player 2 to 7 in round 2. So 1, 8, 9, 10 did not participate. Then you have 2 crosses, 2 cross, 3, 1, and it continues like that. So each column has 6 people, 6 cells that are not struck out. Those are the 6 people participating in each round. Each person gets to participate in a total of 6 rounds. And that's the basic information. Then you have information for total points after round 6. And then total points after round 10. So we have to write down these numbers because that is what we're trying to tabulate. 8, 2, 3, 6, 3, 10, 17, 1, 2, 14. We're also given the total points after 10 rounds. Notice that includes the points scored in the first 6 rounds. So that is a cumulative number. We need to subtract 18 minus 8 to get the total number of points that A scored in the last 4 rounds. So that is 10, 3, 3, 0, 7, 0, 0, 3, 15, 3. Those represent totals. So on the left I'm marking the total score for first 6 rounds. For A it's 8, for B it is 2, like that. On the right I'm marking the total points from the last 10 rounds. So A scored 10 points last 4 rounds, so 7 to 10. 10 points in the last 4 rounds. So that is the basic information that's given to us. On top of that, some additional information is given in numbered clues. 2 clues for rounds 1 to 6 and 3 clues for rounds 7 to 10. Now even before we look at that, there are certain things that we can figure out. The point system was 7 for first place, 3 for second place and 1 for third place, and the next 3 people, positions 4, 5 and 6, do not get points. So each column should contain a 7, a 3 and a 1 and 3 zeros. That should be true for every column: first place, second place, third place, 4th to 6th. And then you have the clues. We'll come in and use these clues when required. Now the only way to get some points on your scoreboard is to get them through 7s and 3s and 1s. So if you look at A had to get 8 points. We can find out the breakdown even if we cannot find which cell contains which number, and that is true for a lot of these numbers. 8 has to be 7 plus 1. That's the only way to get 8 using 2 numbers, and 2 has to be 1 plus 1. So that 1 plus 1 has to be here and here. That can be fixed. Now that means B is third placed in first round, so that means A cannot also be third placed. You cannot have a 1 there because there are no ties in any of the 10 rounds. That means you cannot have more than one of the same number in any column. You have to have exactly 1 7, 1 3 and 1 1 and 3 zeros in each column. So you'll have to put the 7 here and the 1 here. Now this 3 cannot be written as 1 plus 1 plus 1 because it will contradict with the ones that are already present. So it has to be a 3 0 0. I'm not going to bother writing the zeros. This 6 cannot be 3 1 1 1 because you will see columns with multiple ones. So it has to be 3 plus 3. This 3 also has to be 3. Not sure about this 10. This 17. 1 has to be 1. 2 has to be 1 1. 14. There are only 2 rounds, so it has to be 7 7. That can be immediately placed. Now regarding the 17 by G, Gordon did not score consecutively in any 2 rounds. So 17 minimum requires 3 numbers, 7 7 3, and with gaps it will be something like this: 7 7 3, or it could be 7 3 7, something like that. We don't know, but we can confirm that there was no score in the second or fourth out of these 5 rounds. I mean, that would be the third and the fifth round. Cannot have a score, so 0 0, and you have to put a 3 and 2 7s in the remaining spaces. You can't put a 7 here because there's already a 7 below it, so you'll have to put a 3 there and 7s here and here. So we've used the Gordon clue already. Another clue given there is E and F both scored in a round. There was one round where both of them scored. We don't know which round that is. Now we have all the 7s. No, except round 3. Every other 7 from the first stage is found out already. Now the question is, where can the 7 in round 3 be? it cannot be here because there's only a 3 there. It cannot be here because only 3's in that row, only 3's in that row, only a 1 in that row. So the 7 has to be here. This 10 is going to be a 7 plus a 3. Notice that I'm only focusing on this side. We are talking about first stage, which is rounds 1 to 6. We'll look at the other side as well. Now, we found all the 7's. Let's see what else is missing. We need to place the 1's. So these two 1's, you cannot place a 1 here because it's already a 1 above. So you will have to keep that as a blank. Also, we already have 1, 3, 7, so the other 3 are zeros. And so you have two 1's. We have found most of the 1's. The 1 in round 3 has to be here because there are no 1's in these rows. And I'm talking only about the left of this line. So that's a 1. So we found all the 1's. We have found all the 7's. We have to find the 3's. We have placed one of the 3's. The other 3's need to be placed. These are the other 3's that we have to place. Now we can look at the second clue for rounds 1 to 6. Eric and Fatima both scored in the same round. And where can that be? Eric has to have a 3. Fatima has a 7 and a 3. You cannot have two 3's lined up in the same column. So Eric's 3 has to coincide with Fatima's 7. So that means you'll have to put 3 here. That takes out this 3 and also gives us two zeros here. Now, if you look at the third row with C, there is a 3 and a 0 there. We don't know what order that is in. And D has two 3's, but only one of them can be a 3 because C already has taken one of the 3's. So that means D in round 4 has to be a 3 because that is the only place left to place the second 3 of D. Now this is a part that we will realize we cannot figure out. It's 3 bar 0, 0 bar 3. It could be in the other order as well. Now as far as E's 3 is concerned, it cannot be in round 1 or 2 or 4. That 3 is going to be here. I think we have found all the 3's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The rest are all zeros. Once you have 7, 1, 3, 0, 0, 0. Once you have 7, 1, 3, 0, 0, 0. 1, 7, 3, 0, 0, 0. 1, 7, 3, 0, 0, 0. That is stage 1, rounds 1 to 6. Let's look at the clues for rounds 7 to 10. Also, let's see if we can figure out the breakup. This 15 has to be a 7, 7, 1. There is no other way. This 7 has to be a 7 here. 0 is 0, 0. That's easy. This 0 is a 0 here. This 3 can only be a 3, 0. We don't know which is 0 and which is 3. This 3, can it be 1, 1, 1? Seems unlikely, but we'll come back to it. Let's look at the clues. The clue says only 2 players scored 3 consecutive rounds. One of them is Chen. The other is IKEA, because we have a 7, 7, 1 in some order sitting here. We don't know the order yet, but that's 3 in a row. The other one with 3 in a row is Chen. Chen's 3 in a row will be here, and that basically tells us that the 3 was not scored in one go. It was 1 plus 1 plus 1. So out of the 4 1's on the right side of this line, 3 of the 1's have already been taken care of. We found the 2 people with 3 consecutive. It is given that nobody else had even 2 consecutive. Now, because Chen has taken out 3 of the 4 1's available, we can say that the other 3's are all direct. This 3 cannot be 1 plus 1 plus 1 because you would then find multiple 1's in the same column, which would be a contradiction. So it's a direct 3. So is this direct 3, and this 10 has to be a 7 plus 3 because the other people don't have consecutive. So it has to be something like 7 dash 3 dash or something. You cannot have consecutive numbers like 3 3 3 1. That is not an option. So that 10 gets broken down as a 7 plus 3. Now where are we going to put these? What are the other clues? Joshin scored in round 7. J scored in round 7. That's his only 3. The others are all 0. It is given that Amita scored in round 10. Round 10 Amita cannot be a 7. It can only be a 3. And that means this is a 0. And this is also 0 because no consecutive except for Chen and IKEA. Now H, Hansa's 3 cannot be directly above this 3, so it has to be here, and it's going to be a 0 here, which means R7 column needs a 7 and a 1. It already has a 3, so this is a 0 because the only thing you can put in on row 2 is a 3, and we already have the 3. Now the order of the 771, you cannot have 1 here, you cannot have 1 here because 1s are directly above them. So you'll put the 1 there and the 2 7s here. Now that means Amita's 7 has to be in round 7 because it cannot put it in round 8. So that's a 0. Now Bala's 3 cannot be in round 8 because there's one directly below it. So that's a 0 and that's a 3. And that's your full table. The only part you cannot figure out is C and D rounds 1 and 2. It could be in the exact opposite order as well, with a 0 here and a 3 here, 3 here and a 0 here. So two possibilities exist. We'll just leave it as a separate box there, and that's the unique solution to this table. Let's look at the questions. The first question: what were the scores of C, D and D after round 3? C had scored a 3, D had scored a 3, and E had scored a 3. So your scores were 3, 3, 3. Option 4. Second question: which 3 players were in the last 3 positions after round 4? Let's look at the cumulative score at round 4. The values are 7, 2, 3, 6, 3, 7, 14, 1, 1 and 0. So the bottom 3 were 1, 1, 0, HIJ. Option 4. Third question: which player scored points in maximum number of rounds? Number of rounds, you will see that I has scored 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The next highest is 4 for C and A, I think. A few of them have 4, but only I is 5. Last question: which players scored points in the last round? That would be A, C, E. Option 1. So I'm going to take Sunitha as a third set. So we have A, B and Sunitha as your 3 sets. We can solve this using a 3-set Venn diagram. So here we have a 3-set Venn diagram. Set A, all the people who support proposal A. Set B, ditto for proposal B. And I'm going to take the third set as Sunitha. That means these 4 regions represent people who support Sunitha, and these 4 regions represent people who support Ragini. So I'm going to keep Ragini on the side with another color. This is the support for Ragini. What are all of the information that you have? Total you had 500 students. So the universal set has 500 elements. 250 supported A. So A has a total of 250 people inside. 250 supported B. So we've used the first clue. Among the 200 who supported Sunitha, Sunitha has a total support of 200 people. 80% supported proposal A. So inside Sunitha there are 4 regions. 2 of them support A, the other 2 do not support A. So those 2 that support A together add up to 80% of 200, which is 160. So I'm going to mark a 160 here. That's the second clue. Third clue, among those who preferred Ragini, 30% supported proposal A. Ragini has a total of 300 people now because Sunitha had 200 and the total was 500. So out of this 300, 30%, which is 90, supported A. So that's basically these 2 regions adding up to 90. That is the third clue. Fourth clue says 20% of those who supported B preferred Sunitha. B has total 250, 20% or 1/5 of 250 is 50. Out of B, 50 people prefer Sunitha. That will be 50 here. Fourth clue is done. Fifth clue, 40% of those who did not support B. Who are the people who did not support B? That will be 1, 2, 3 and 4. Out of this, 40% of the 250, there are 250 inside the circle and 250 outside who do not support B. Out of the 250, 40% prefer Ragini. So that's basically these 2 cells adding up to 40% of 250, which is 100. That was the fifth clue. Sixth clue, every student who preferred Sunitha and B supported B also supported A. So the intersection of Sunitha and B is these 2 segments. They also supported A. That means all of the 50 are here and none of the 50 are supporting Sunitha and B without supporting A. So that's a 0. That gives you 110 here, and with the total 200 I can put a 40 here. That was clue 5. Now clue 6 says, no, that was clue 6. Clue 7 says among those who preferred Ragini, the 300 who prefer Ragini, 20% of 300 is 60, did not support any of the proposals. So the people who are outside the Sunitha set, the 4 dashes, out of that 20% or 60 people are outside A and B as well. So that is 60 here, which will give you a 40 here, a 50 here, and that would give you a 150 here. That's basically all 8 values. We can use this to now solve the questions. So let's look at the questions. First one is, among the students who surveyed who supported A, what percentage preferred Sunitha? So these are the 250 people who supported A, out of which 160 prefer Sunitha. So your answer is 160 upon 250, which is 64%. Second question, what percentage of students who didn't support A prefer Ragini? So people who didn't support A are outside set A, these numbers, out of which the first 2 are outside the Sunitha set, so they prefer Ragini. So you're looking at 210 out of 250, which is 84%. Third question, what percentage of the students surveyed who supported both A and B preferred Sunitha? These are the people who supported both A and B. Out of that, this 50 supported Sunitha. So you're looking at 50 upon 100, which is 50%. Last one, how many of the students surveyed supported B, did not support A and preferred Ragini? Supported B, so inside set B, did not support A, so outside set A. That already is these 2 categories, 150 and 0, and it's now asking also supported Ragini for president, which should be outside the Sunitha set. So you're looking at the 150. That is your answer. So in this set, if you strip it to its bare essentials, you have a 3 by 3 grid with 9 cells. Each cell has 3 numbers, and the smallest and highest number among the 3 numbers is given to us. So you have 3 numbers, 2, an unknown number, and 4. And the missing number could be a 2 or a 4 itself, or it could be any number in between. So it could be 2 or 3 or 4. Similarly, you have 6-8, 1-3, 3-5, 1-1. That has to be a 1, can't be anything else. 6-20, 1-2, 1-2, 2-5. This is the information that's given to us. Then it is said that in any row or any column, now if you look at any row or any column, you have 3 cells, so you have 9 numbers. They're saying that the average of the 9 numbers for any row or any column is an integer. If the average is an integer, then that means that the sum is a multiple of 9, and that is what we are going to use to solve the set. It is also given at the end of the main instructions that the first column third row, which is this thing right here, first column third row, has a sum of 4, so the missing number is 1. So this is what we have at this point. In 2 of the 9 cells, the middle number is known. In the rest, it is not known, but we have this multiple of 9 to work with. So let's see how it goes. If you look at the first column, the sum is 1, 1, 2 is 4, 7, 12, 14, 18. The sum is already 18, and 2 more numbers are to be added. So if you're looking for multiples of 9, it can't be 18. It can be 27. Can it be 36? 36 means that the 2 dashes should add up to another 18, which is not possible because the highest values you can put are 4 and 5. So you see, that is the answer, because 36 is another 18 is not possible, another 9 is possible, and that is done by putting a 4 and a 5. So that gives you a unique solution for the entire first column. Now you can look at the second column, last row, anything. Okay, let's look at the middle row, because there's only one thing that's missing. You have 3, 5, 5 is 13, 16, 36, 42. We have 42. To make it a multiple of 9, you need either a 3 to 45, or a 12 to 54, or a 21 to 63. Now 3 and 21, it's basically only 12 will look. Anything below 12, it's too low for this set because the minimum has to be 6. Anything after 12 is too high because it has to be less than or equal to 20. So you only have one solution, and that is to put the 12 there and make the sum 54. 42 plus 12, 54. So that is done. Now you look at the middle column. You have 6, 1, 1, 1, 9, 12, 20. You have a 20. You need another 7 to take you to 27, or a 16 to take you to 36. But the 16 is too large. You cannot hit 16. So it has to be 7. Now you can either put what are the options for 7? You can put 7, 0 is not possible. 6, 1 is possible. 5, 2 is not possible because 5 is lower than 6. So that means there's only one way of getting that 7, which is to put 6, 1. So that part is done. Now you look at the top row. 2, 4, 4 is 10. So the top row, you already have 2, 4, 4 is 10, 16, 22, 30, 34. You can take put a 2 and make it 36, and the last cell is here. 112 is 4 plus 4, 8, 10, 15. A 3 will make it 18. That's the only number you can put. So that is the unique solution to the given information. You can use this to solve the questions. The first question is, what is the total amount of money in the first column, second row? First column, second row would be here, and that sum is 3 plus 5 plus 5, 13. The second question is how many pouches contain exactly one coin? That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 8 pouches that contain exactly one coin. What is the number of slots for which the average is an integer? We're talking about slots which have 3 pouches. So for the average to be an integer, the sum should be a multiple of 3. We can check that. The sum is 10. The sum is 13. 4. 4. 3 works. 20 doesn't work. 6 works. This doesn't work. Doesn't work. There are 2 pouches. The last question, the number of slots for which the total amount in its 3 pouches strictly exceeds 10. We're checking that the sum is greater than 10. Strictly exceeds means equal to 10 is not taken. It has to be greater than 10. So again, only equal to 10, greater than 10, no, 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 yes, no, yes, no. I think we have 3 ticks, so the answer is 3.